Hey guys, Chelsea here. Now this is actually going to be a bit of a remake of one of my prior videos. Now if you didn't see, there was actually a video I made, I think it was like 5 months ago, which was like every game mode ranked. And at the time, only Invasion, Assault and Conquest were out. This time, however, it's going to be a little bit different since, well, Destruction and Armored Train Escort has actually been released as well. So, yeah, this is what this video is going to be about. It's going to be literally looking at all of the so it's going to be looking at Invasion, it's going to be looking at Conquest, Assault, Destruction, and Armored Train. And basically, me rating them from worst to best. So, yeah, I'm going to be taking a look at what it is, like, what the game mode is, how fun they are, how good the maps are, etc. Anyways, that being said, let's move on to number 5, which is the worst, and then move all the way to number 1. Coming in at number 5 is Demolition. Now, Demolition was, of course, released during Tunisia, so obviously there is it's one of the newer game modes. However, in my opinion, it's actually the worst game mode. Now, I've had a few games of Demolition. I've not enjoyed any of them, either attacking or defending. Now, if you don't know, this game mode is actually probably the most heavily stacked in one side's favour. That side being the defender. Now, the reason being is the attackers have to basically set off bombs on radio points around the map, and the defenders can easily just, well, as you can see, they basically can just easily go to the point and then just defuse them. It's very easy to defuse in this game. It's very hard to actually defend the point, in my opinion. Like, you basically have to attack a point and then defend it. Now, of course, this is very similar to Invasion, to basically every game mode in the game. But the problem with this one is that you go off your game for like a couple seconds, or the enemy has like one player sneak in for like, I don't know, 2-3 seconds. That's it, and that's your progress done for that point, and you have to basically work around it. Now, with every other game mode, you actually, when you have to defend points, such as Invasion, such as Conquest, such as Assault, and well, basically every game mode in the game now I think about it, you don't have this much, the defenders don't have to do this little to basically deny the attackers that much. Anyways, with that being said, let's move on to the fourth game mode, which is the second worst. For the second worst game mode, it was considered, I said it was the worst game mode in the first video, and it's gone up by 1, which is Assault. Now, the reason I think Assault has gone up is because I think Assault is a little bit more balanced than Demolition. But however, Assault is still very unbalanced, and it was still an easy number 4. Now, the reason I have to give Assault is, well, it's really unbalanced. And you have to basically, if you're the defender, you have an easy game. If you're the attacker, you're going to have a really rough one. Defenders have such an easy thing to do. Like, you just need to have a slight, like, you take the cap slightly, and you will be basically, well, you don't have to do anything else, because you have to hold one of the cap points, and that's it. The enemies can't advance. You can literally, a good strategy is to have 8 people attacking the point, and then 2 people defend. When the 2 people lose the point, the other 8 people just move in onto the other point and take it. It's like, it's very easy to take all of the points in this game. This game mode is basically unbalanced in favour of the defender, kind of like Demolition. But the reason I'm putting it above Demolition is that with the defenders, there's actually a bit more trial involved. There's a little bit more that you need to do, and if you do lose a point, like, it can be easy for the attackers to steamroll the points. However, it's still a very, very unbalanced game mode, which is why it's coming in at number 4. Anyway, let's move on to the middle game mode, which is going to have no surprises, if you can tell by what I've been putting here. For the middle game mode, it's going to have to be Conquest. Now, Conquest, everyone usually says, Conquest is probably the worst game mode. Now, I would say, if it was just Conquest, Invasion, and Armored Train, then yeah, it is the worst game mode. But Conquest, it's really dependent on the maps. If you can get a map like Manor, Labrie, Right Chancellery, then Conquest is actually quite fun. But when you get maps like Swamp, Chateau, Fortified District, all of those maps, then it's going to be a minor slog. Now, Again, some Conquest maps are great. Some Conquest maps are just, oh, why? And others are just like, oh, really? Do I have to do this? Anyways, I don't really have much to say about Conquest. It's just the middle. It's the middle of the pack game mode. It's not as good as Arbitrate. It's not as good as Invasion, but at least both sides have, you know, a good, you know, they're on equal terms for the most part. Like some maps, for example, Fortified District is a kind of a bit of a shit map. Chateau is really bad. Swamps obviously is if you haven't seen my video on Swamps, watch that, and you'll see how my opinion is on that map. Anyways, with that being said, let's move on to the second game mode. Coming in for number 2 is actually going to be a shock. It's Invasion. Now, Invasion, when I first made this list, Invasion was number 1. It was number 1 and it wasn't even close. Again, the gap between Conquest and Invasion still hasn't loosened over the time. In fact, I think it's even gotten larger because there's been better Invasion maps than Conquest maps. But why is Invasion not number 1? Well, something came which basically overtook Invasion. Now, Invasion is still a fantastic game mode. Even if some of the maps are a bit shit, like, for example, train station in Berlin. I'm not going to say, Bahnhof, I think it's how you say it, that station. I've had a few people who basically attacked me for that. Anyways, there's also, you know, maps like Airfield which aren't that good. Birch Forest, the new Birch Forest is either a blitzkrieg or a clusterfuck. But then you get maps like the Brie, Omer, Wilhelmstrasse is pretty good. What else? Other good? There's a few good maps. There's a lot of good maps throughout this game. Yeah, it's pretty good at times, but there are maps which you just think, God, why? Why is this? Why do I have to pick this map? Anyway, I don't really have much to say about Invasion. Everyone knows what Invasion is. Everyone knows it's really good. But I had to only put it at number 2 because number 1 is just a really, really, really fun game mode. Anyways, let's go on to number 1 now. For number 1, it's going to have to be Arbitrate Escort or Payload, whatever you want to call it now. I'm going to call it Payload because it's essentially Payload from TF2. Now, why is Payload so good? Well, it's just so much fun. The train is just an amazing set piece. You have this, you know, just a big fuck off train in the middle of the map just driving through. It's a lot of fun. I've had some of my favourite games of all time have been from playing on CeeLo. CeeLo might be my favourite map at this point. Like, I generally think CeeLo might be my favourite map. Now, there's of course, you know, just the train itself has 105s on it, which are very powerful. There's a lot, and I mean a lot, of just so much fun you can have with this thing. Like, you can go to tank and flank around. You can, you know, go in, say, I don't know. There's a lot of things you can do. Like, I'm generally just, you can go in the AA gun, you can go in the tank turret, you can go in the 105s. You can just jump around the train, which is hilariously fun when you just jump over. And then the anti-gravity hits and you go flying like 10 feet into the air. It's so much fun. I love it so much. It's my favourite game mode. Not much to say really. Like, it's just so good. And it's honestly just, I would recommend if you're having some questions about the game mode, go on a custom match with a group of your mates, and then just play that. It's just so much fun. You have, you know, going around, having people flying in with custom match CeeLos or Pirates games are generally, honestly, they are the best. You've got planes flying overhead, you've got, yeah, the planes are a bit overpowered on this map, but man, it's fun. Yeah, I just don't have much to say about CeeLo. It's so good. Like, CeeLo is amazing. The game mode's just fantastic. Like, just driving through the train, you know, just hopping through the train carriages, hopping over the train, jumping, you know, just trying to keep up with it, and it's just fun. Also, Thomas the Tank Engine is on meth in this. It literally looks like there's this faceplate that looks like Thomas the Tank Engine just took 20 pounds of methamphetamine. Whoa. And I generally, it's such a great map. Anyways, I'm going to end this video here. I hope you guys have enjoyed. Leave your thoughts on the game modes, where you think you would place these game modes. Because I'm pretty sure people might put Armor Train and Invasion, might switch them out. Like, comment, subscribe if you've enjoyed the video, and I'll see you guys in the next one.